Hello there. Here we go. All right. Hey, welcome to the Spoilers with Diacre. I am Diacre, also known as Daryl, and I am your host for this podcast of pop culture. If I'm excited about it in some way, I will talk to you about it. And so I am excited about lots of different things. So this week I've got a little soapbox to get onto, and I've also got a movie I went and saw on my birthday. I saw Hellboy on my birthday, and I've got some notes for you. If you were wondering about it and you saw those different reviews from other people that were bad and backing off, you may want to listen to what I have to say. You may have already made up your mind. Either way, let's have a good time here, and we will talk about Hellboy. Before we get started, though, I want to thank everybody who's listening right now. Thank you very much, and I especially want to thank my Patreon patrons, Debbie Olheft, Danielle Bortone-Holt, Drew Simchick, and Shane Coynan-Dew. Thank you very much. It means a lot to me. I know it's only a few bucks each month for you, but it means the world to me. So if you want to become a patron, go to patreon.com/spoilerdiacre. That's spoiler, SPOILERDIACRE, which also happens to be my Twitter handle. So, okay. So before we get started with me talking about Hellboy, I just want to get a little bit on my soapbox here, because this is a conversation I had with somebody, with somebody at work. And so there's some things that just trigger me once in a while. And they're the stupidest things. They're my soapbox. They're not very meaningful to other people, but they're my soapbox. In fact, the whole start of me getting on my soapbox about something that bothers me, my own pet peeves or whatnot, is what started this whole podcast in the beginning. When we started it, it was me somebody set me off and I went on a rant, and it led to Wayne and I starting this podcast. And here we are, like 2.5, almost 3 years later, still doing the podcast. So what my soapbox is when I hear somebody say something to the effect of, "Oh, I wish Hollywood would make something new. I wish Hollywood would stop making the same thing time and time again." And I have lots to say to that, because I just get annoyed with that in general, because there's lots of counterpoints to it. One, there's a lot of movies that come out. You want to see a movie that's different than you've seen before? Go looking for it. It's out there. Be willing to experiment. I think what people are really saying is they're saying, I want a big budget blockbuster that has all the bells and whistles and is polished and tight, but is something brand new. And the tough thing about that is you can't, if it's brand new, you don't know the format. You don't know what works, and you're trying it. And that's why there's not as much money thrown at it in both advertising and actual production values, but there's still a ton of movies made with a lot of money still. But they're more experimental, and you have to be willing to go and search those out. You have to be willing to look at something and go, I don't know if I'll like that. I don't think I'll like that. But you got to go see it, because the only way to get new stuff out there is to support stuff. Take the risk. Go out there. Watch a new movie. Same goes with any other pop culture media. TV shows. You want a different type of TV show than you see? Support the TV shows. Support web episodes of stuff. Support different types of things that people are doing. Support podcasts. There's lots of experimentation going on in podcasts right now. Hey, you know what? You're like me, and you're tired of hearing about just another murder podcast. Well, guess what? There's way more podcasts than that. There's some great podcasts out there on every topic that you want. Some are just entertainment podcasts, basically audio dramas. I'm listening to Voyage of the Stars because my personal celebrity crush, Felicia Day, is in that, and I started listening to that. And it's basically improvised They've got a framework, but they improvise each episode of the show, and it's been a lot of fun so far. It's well produced with sound effects and some audio to kind of give you the tone of wherever they are, but it's also really done. Yes, murder podcasts. You know, all those ones thank you. Welcome 206 Geek. Thanks for joining us, by the way. I'm responding to 206 Geek on the Twitch stream, which is twitch.tv/Diacre. I will be recording my podcast here, but I will also be doing other stuff. So if you ever want to talk with me, this is the place to do it. But yes, murder podcasts. Those podcasts where people want to take apart some cold case murder or a murder that's been solved, but it was so gory and bloody that they want to go over every detail so that they can somehow feel something. I don't know. It's not my thing, much like horror isn't normally my thing. And even like the grotesque isn't really my thing. And I'll get to talk about that a little bit with Hellboy today, but it's somebody's thing and it's out there. But the problem is it's become the only thing that's out there. But that's what's got some money behind it. And so that's what people are going to see. However, if you're out there and you're thinking, I wish there was something else, there's so much else out there. You can listen to it. You're already listening to this podcast. You can go listen to 206 Geek podcast that he's got. You can listen to podcasts on pretty much any topic. I listen to podcasts on video gaming. Actually, I listen to one that's on video gaming in French because I also want to practice my French. You can do that kind of stuff too. There's so many ways to do it. But back to movies. Hey, I'm a big Kevin Smith fan. So I saw the kind of concept of Tusk, but I was like, ooh, that seems weird and out there. But I went and saw it and I supported it. And it was a weird movie, but I'm really happy he made it because it's something different. Yeah, no problem, 206 Geek. Always willing to plug a friend. But I was really happy he made that. And then I went and saw when he did Yoga Hosers. Once again, not like a big budget blockbuster movie. I don't think that's the only movie we need anymore. And somehow people are saying that. They're saying, we don't want all these big budget blockbuster movies. I wish they'd come up with something new. But instead, what they do is they complain about that, but that's what they want. Tusk was really weird, but it was also phenomenal in its weirdness and grotesqueness and strangeness. And that's the kind of stuff that it becomes this whole, I mean, it's part of the whole B movie genre in some ways, but it's different than what you're used to. It doesn't have all the same points. It's got some points, a little touch of the point, but it's not the exact point. So I think that is, just one part of my soapbox here. My other soapbox is that you're just kind of like saying in it that Hollywood is your only thing. And there's so many other ways to get media. And people always say it and other things to be pompous and stuff, but I don't see enough action about it. They'll say this stuff, but they don't speak with their dollars. There's one thing to say, well, I'm not going to these movies anymore because I'm tired of them. But there's also, I want to see this kind of movie. So you've got to search it out, be active about it, and go spend money on that. And when they see people spending money on the new and the different, the odd, the whatever it is you think that is this new type of movie that you want to see, then you spend your money there, and that's when Hollywood will take notice. Because yes, Hollywood is really it's a business. It's the entertainment business, and it's the business side of all that, and they're looking to make sure that they can make their money back. They want to, but what they're saying is we want to put our money in art, but we also want to make our money back. So we can only take so many risks. And the less money you're willing to spend on risks, the less money they're willing to spend on risks. So it's all part of getting art out there in the world. Support artists, support your local artists. There's tons of people making local films. Figure out who it is, go see their stuff at the local film festivals. Do it. All right. That's me off my soapbox for now. But yeah, when it comes to people supporting the arts and giving anybody a bad time, I tend to get on my soapbox there because I'm so tired of people having a problem with somebody putting out art that's too mainstream. Well, it's like there's plenty of non-mainstream stuff. You just have to go looking for it. But what they want is mainstream, not mainstream. They want stuff that's not mainstream to be mainstream. And then it would be mainstream. So then they'd want something else to be not mainstream. It's really just a way to sound cooler than thou without having to have to raise a finger and do anything, create anything yourself. I think it's one of my favorite things that Kevin Smith says, and I'm paraphrasing, is it costs nothing to I am indeed a sellout. I'm selling out all over the place. I'm selling out this entire room here. There's one seat and I'm in it and it's full, sold out. Okay. So, but what he said is it costs nothing to give somebody encouragement. It costs nothing to give them encouragement. And what you get out of that is you get whatever they create. So you encourage somebody to create something. Yeah, they may not come up with the best thing, but they create something and you get to enjoy that. And then maybe they come up with something else and that inspires somebody else and that person creates something and it germinates into this tree. And I think that's like the most important thing we can do if we really do care about any form of art. Even if you're not all about all the arts, if you just have one area, if it's music, go see and support the local bands and be excited that they are doing something, because there's always room for more of this artistic creations out there, as weird as they get, and just look for what you can to encourage that person. Maybe who knows what it is. It could be just a small thing like, I really find it interesting that you use this material. I've never seen that before. That's really cool. And ask questions about that. And being an expert on something that nobody's seen before is really, really wonderful. So support with all the ways you can. Words mean so much, and asking questions and just connecting means so much. Follow people on Twitter, like all their stuff, share it with your friends. That means so much to people who create things, especially when you're a small creator who's just trying to create because you have to create, not because it's your job. So that's how you can help make this world full of more new stuff without having to create it yourself. But if you do create it yourself, tell me about it. I'd love to talk to you about it. Okay, let's move on. That seems like a perfect place for a segue, though, into how you could support me. You could support me by following me on Facebook. Just look for the Spoilers with Diacre. Or you can follow me at Spoiler Diacre on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, and many more places. So I've consolidated all that, so hopefully you can find me easier, just Spoiler Diacre. I need to add that to my little chart here. There. Over there. That little logo. But, all right. Well, let's talk about Hellboy, because I did see it this weekend. It was opening weekend. It got terrible, terrible, terrible reviews. 38, I think, on Rotten Tomatoes. And I think this kind of goes in line with my my rant that I just had, but it's a little different. I went to Hellboy. I had a pretty clear idea of what type of movie it was, and you know what? It was that movie. Now, I'm gonna say, like a lot of things, I came into it as a blank slate. I hadn't seen the previous Hellboy movies, so I had no background there. I don't know the comics, so I have no background there. I just went as a blank slate. And as a blank slate, going to that movie, it was fun. Wait, hold on a second. The 206 Geek is saying 38. Now I'm 42. I am the answer to the question of life, existence, and everything, or whatever it is from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So, yeah. So I went to see see it, and yeah, 38. That was not my age. That was what score I thought I saw it on Rotten Tomatoes. I could be wrong, but yeah. But it was nowhere near a 38. It was, it wasn't a great movie. I will give anybody that. It wasn't this tight package of well-crafted genius, but it also was exactly the movie you went to see. It was this Hellboy movie. It was a bit more grotesque than I would like, but it was probably helped the movie in what it was trying to do. Yes, 38 on Rotten Tomatoes, I'm pretty sure is what I might have said that wrong. But I'll listen to this later and see what I said. And I was really happy with it. The basic story of this whole thing, the way they told it, the way they rolled out the story was really sort of this gothic feel, which I really think worked for what they were doing. There's a very biblical sense to Hellboy. I mean, it's right in the name, but they went with it right up front. And so it has that you almost feel like it's a painting that's like the movie itself is a religious painting. And in some ways, that's the way some of the shots are and stuff like that. And that can feel a little uncanny valley-ish in sometimes. But yeah, it's a sci-fi comic book movie, not a Spielberg movie. Exactly. That's exactly right. The 206 Geek has it on point. That's what it is. Now, it really wins as a sci-fi comic book movie and like fantasy sci-fi, like not sci-fi out there futuristic sci-fi, but it's like almost more urban fantasy, I would say, than actual sci-fi. So almost more urban fantasy comic book. And it was definitely that. I mean, it's great as a fan for me of the Harry Dresden novels, the Dresden Files novels, where the hero, there's some supernatural elements, but the hero is getting beat up. But they're going to win, but you want to see how they accomplish that. This was a lot like that. The hero's getting mashed up. He's joking along the way, and you want to see how he's going to win. And so it was that, and it was exactly what I would expect from that. I should check out the first two now that I've seen this one. It's, like a lot of things, I think sometimes people nowadays, because of the sort of culture of binge watching only, everybody wants to start from the beginning of something, and they feel if they haven't, that they can't. But I know from being a Whovian that you can start from wherever you start. And if that's enough and that gets you in, then that might get you back to looking at something you never wanted to look at before because you weren't ready for it yet, or you weren't born yet, or whatever. And that's kind of the way lots of things are. I've been reading a lot of comic books from a few years ago because I haven't been a comic book reader, but it's because I hear about something, I read it, and then I want to go back and read it. TV shows, same thing. Not on my radar. People say it. I'm always late to the party when it comes to TV shows, it seems. But then I go and watch it, and I either like it or I don't. But if I like it, I tend to go back and become, I want to look at this same things that maybe these stories are connected to, or a different thing the actors were in, or all that sort of stuff. So when it comes down to it, I really think that that this movie was really good. Not a great movie by any means, but really a solid movie, like really a lot of fun. My son and I were talking about it afterwards. We were like, why did people say it was so bad? Was it because there was some silliness and cheesiness to a movie that people thought should be serious? And I think, once again, going back to my like of the Dresden Files, I thought, no, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, the humor is what makes the character what you like. But really, we looked at it, it's like, you can't just say just because a movie's silly, it's no good. I mean, Thor Ragnarok was silly as all heck. And it was a wonderful movie and great. So, yeah. The first two were made by Guillermo del Toro, and I should see them because he's a great director and really worth seeing his movies. So yeah, I would say if you were on the fence about Hellboy and then the reviews came out and you said, okay, I'll put it aside. Don't do that. Go see it. It's worth seeing if that's the kind of movie you have enjoyed in the past. It's that kind of movie. It's what you're expecting, and it's going to fill your soul with joy and happiness, and you are going to really be happy you went to the movie. And I'm always a big fan of, if you can, going to see movies at the movie theater. For me, there's just something to the cultural aspect of it, something to going out and watching it with other people. I was having, even though it was my birthday, I was having kind of a bad emotional day, but then seeing a movie at the theater, sitting with my son, sitting with other people who were making noises, oohs and ahs, and laughing at the movie with me, that is just a better way to experience a lot of movies, especially a movie like this. So if you thought about seeing it, hey, go see a matinee. Save a few bucks, watch it at the matinee, and go see it. But because of the bad reviews and because of the way people are, it's probably not going to be in the movie theaters very long. So I recommend going and seeing it now. If it's not your movie, if you looked at the reviews or you looked at the trailers and you never wanted to see it, then yeah, don't see it. It's not going to be the movie for you. And I always worry when I see reviews of movies that are exactly what they should be with bad reviews. I'm like, did the person expect it to be some drama? I don't know. I'm always easy on movies too, though. So if you do see it and you totally disagree, please let me know. You can contact me on Facebook, on Twitter at Spoiler Diacre, or any of the other social media things with at Spoiler Diacre. You can go to our website, my website now, The Spoilers WD, as in the Spoilers with Diacre now. And you can also just email me at fanmail@thespoilerswd.com. And I would love to hear from you. What do you think? What's a movie that you saw that had high ratings and it wasn't any good to you, or it had low ratings and you really, really loved it? I actually more interested in that. I'm more interested in the stuff that you saw that was you like totally disagree in a positive light for this movie, because that I tend to be that way myself, but I would love to hear your opinions on that. So follow me, let me know, and that would be great. Thank you once again for watching. Please, if you are a listener and you've been listening a lot, please support the podcast by writing a review on iTunes, on Podchaser, or however you listen to podcasts. If you want to support it financially without doing anything you wouldn't already be doing, you can click on the Amazon links we have from our site and go to whatever you want to purchase from there. Even though it's a link for last week's show notes were some Squirrel Girl comics, you can just go and purchase whatever you want after that, and you can do that. So, hey, we will see you very soon. We're coming up near Endgame. We'll probably want to talk soon about the Star Wars stuff that everybody's starting to talk about now. But for now, I'm trying to keep my topics small, singular, and for each episode, and maybe I can start to get these more on a weekly basis. Until next time, thanks for listening to The Spoilers with Diacre.